In the last vlog, we started working on this room, but today it's finally going to start feeling like a real game / movie room. We are setting up some fun parts, adding a few more important pieces, and really trying to figure out this wall behind the couch. I'm starting to think I may have made a big mistake with the art.
Whatever you do it well. Colossians 3, verse 23.
We actually cleared out most of the decor out of this room because in the next video of this area, you are going to be seeing the fun part, which is the full decorate with me. I wanted to start with a clearer base first so we could really see what the room needed. I did go ahead and place some pieces back in certain positions, but that doesn't mean anything for now. We're gonna go back and we are going to decorate this place like never before. One thing that we wanted to update was the top of the pool table. It just wasn't working with the rest of the room anymore. So I decided to spray paint it black and give it a cleaner look. Even that little bit of change started to make the room look completely different, and it started to look more cohesive and kind of pull everything together. After that, we kept going with some of the darker details in the room. We refreshed the black paint,
But we experienced a little hiccup along the way.
I woke up early this morning with the anticipation to get this wall completely done. I put the paint down there. Do you guys see that paint from Sherwin-Williams? It costs a fortune. And look at that. It's not the right color. They said that this is what we had up here. I don't know if we had this color before, but that is looking kind of periwinkle. It looks a little purplish, and I don't know that I like that. It might come out different when it dries, but very big difference between the two blacks. And I really don't know what I can use this paint for now. We're gonna have to go get another can of paint, which is crazy to me. Do you guys know anywhere that I can sell like a practically unused can of paint? Because this is such a waste. And what can I do with this color?
Then another hiccup.
I experienced the hiccup while doing this. So as I was doing it, suddenly there was this. Okay, I got frustrated, then he took over, and then suddenly the paper went like backward. So, you know, the paper that you're peeling, I think it flipped over and it just messed everything up. I got everything down. This was so hard to do. Like, I almost call it quits. Seriously, because we had to make sure the bottom was set right. But unfortunately, this house probably isn't built with a symmetrical architecture for whatever reason. Everything is not like perfectly aligned. So it was quite the hassle. Anyway, we had the smart idea to leave some extra on top. We're going to cut it with a razor in a moment. But you see this? This is getting me upset because I'm back here looking at it and I'm like, because it's not like sticking, and you could see that it's not sticking to the wall. We can't physically pull this off, and this wallpaper is not what I would say super affordable. It's not very expensive, but it's not super affordable either. And guess who's not buying more? Me. I'm going to use this. So I grabbed this from the garage. Thank God we have like these supplies in the garage. This is a 3M super multi-purpose adhesive. So this is going to be my rescue, I hope.
Thank God everything worked out exactly the way it was supposed to.
But when you go to Sherwin-Williams, they want you to scrape the paint off of the wall. So that's what we did right here. They want you to at least have a quarter size scraping off the wall. And honestly, this wall really just needs a touch up. It doesn't even need like a full paint job. And I'm tired at this point, so I don't want to do a full paint job. It's really only this wall and a little bit of another wall. We got the right color paint, but the only problem is we got a little can. So I don't know if this is gonna work. I started painting already, and as you can see, I even painted the wood. It looks like a match. We might be getting somewhere.
I know some of you guys are gonna think, she's crazy, what is she doing? But I am blacking out Pac-Man because the paint is already starting to chip a little bit, and I just think aesthetically it'll look a little bit better. I decided to paint the sides of the Pac-Man machine black too, so it would blend in better and feel a little cleaner in the space.
I already started the other side. I didn't align the tape correctly, and as you can see, there's a defect on this side. There's just like some stripping and stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna leave the front. I'm just gonna do the whole thing black. And honestly, Nick did not fully trust this process at first. He definitely thought I was doing a little too much and probably thought I was a little crazy. But once it was done and we stepped back to look at it, he ended up loving it. I love my husband because he definitely allows me to have creative freedom in our home. And sometimes he's not sure of what I'm doing or he can't see the vision. But usually when it all comes together, it's something that he loves. If for some reason he thinks that a small tweak can improve something, he definitely always puts in his 2 cents, and I definitely always listen. But I do make decisions sometimes after looking at things for a while, because sometimes things are not clear the first day, but it may be the second or third day. That's why when you're doing, especially projects like this, it's so important to take your time to get it done the right way.
Whoa, a nice cold cup of lemonade. Whoa, then I got myself some lemonade. Whoa, whoa, I love lemonade. Whoa, 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 lemonade. It's really funny how sometimes little changes sound questionable at first, but they end up making such a big difference in the room. We ran into another problem. We're not experts, so of course we're gonna run into problems. We end up with a gap right here on the wall. I was just gonna put up another piece of wallpaper, but we might end up doing this again. So he's just gonna get like something that we can stick in the crease, like a strip, just to help offset some of the problem. So this fixes the problem. I mean, if we don't like the color, I could just nicely paint it black. You could put, yeah. You guys see what this looks like. This is like a deep brown. I'm gonna do like, I'll do an ultra matte black. I'm gonna leave it there for a little while. Next up, we had to hide the cords for the TVs behind the wall because we weren't gonna look at cords. That was not gonna be aesthetic.
I just want to show you guys what we did so far. This is what it looks like. Do you guys see? If you notice, we turned the desk in the other direction. I wanted to do this when we first got the desk. One of the older kids were like, no, what if I should have known better. I should just turn the desk around, because I was like, they were like, well, everybody could see. And then I was like, well, what do you have to hide? And then I was like, whatever, because I thought maybe if I'm doing something and I don't want everybody to see, which I don't really use this anyway, so. But yeah, everybody needs to see what they're doing because they don't have business. They don't have private business, okay? Your parents need to know everything. Okay, so we turned this desk around and I felt like it would give a little more room because we have a little battle with the pool table that's beside me. Nick says it should go. I say it should stay because I don't even care if it's like that one thing that kind of clutters the area. The kids love it. So this is a kids area. They do their Legos on it, and there's pool, there's ice hockey, what do they call it? Ice foosball. And what else is there on there? Table tennis. So the kids love it. And then we're going to get rid of one of the gaming machines and keep one. That's the Pac-Man. We're going to get rid of Centipede. I will give Centipede away because the kids barely played, even though it has more games on it. I just feel like it's just too much up in this area and they don't even really use it. So what's the point? This is what it's looking like so far. We're going to go ahead and put the curtains up there. We're getting much closer to being done. Oh my gosh, this has been quite the project.
If this is going to be a real game room, then of course we needed to stock the mini fridge too. This is going to be one of those simple little things that makes the space feel a lot more fun and a lot more useful. We started adding lighting in different areas because, of course, lighting makes a big difference in a room like this. I wanted the room to feel really fun, cozy, and a little more like a movie room instead of just a loft with furniture in it. I kept in mind that I also needed to figure out where this clock was going to go. I wanted something simple that still worked with the room, and once I started moving it around a little bit, this spot ended up making the most sense. And this part of the makeover is in partnership with a bake brand, which worked out really well because this clock fits the space so nicely. Can I tell you how once the clock was up, the room started to feel a little bit more finished, not fully done yet, but definitely more like a real space with a purpose. And I love the fact that there was a huge clock on the wall where you could easily tell what time it was. There's no need to run around, ask what time it is, ask Alexa or anything like that. It is right in front of your face, and the numbers were big and bright enough for you to even see them in the dark. Now we're going back to the wall art, and this is where I started picking up that something was really off. The art itself is nice, but once I stepped back and looked at it for a few days on the wall, I was like, it might actually be way too small for the space. When I purchased these wall pieces, this was the only size the seller had available at the time. And honestly, in the moment, I couldn't think fast enough to picture something else. And I'm going to tell you the truth, they were on sale. It was just like around the Christmas season. So you know that I put that in my cart and I pressed click really fast, thinking actually that the size 16 by 24 would be sufficient. I knew I wanted something for this wall, and this was what I went with. Pictures can be very deceptive, and when I put my measuring tape up on the wall to see what the size was, it looked like it was going to work. I have a thing with measuring items, and it always looks like it's going to work. But then when the reality comes in to the situation, then something is off. So this is like the second time this happened to me with this project. We'll talk about the issue in another video. I guess we'll talk about that in the decorating video because it really doesn't have anything to do with this immediate space. But it is so hard sometimes to gauge what something is actually going to look like in a room and how much space it's actually going to take up. And sometimes wall measurements don't always do the trick. Once everything else started to come together, I could definitely see that the wall needed a lot more impact. So I started searching to see if I could find a larger version of what I already had. My intent was to put more lighting over these pictures, and I was like, I did not want to hang the lighting yet until I figured out this whole entire size dilemma. I went on Google Images, took a picture of the pieces on the wall, snipped them down, checked Google Images so that I could look for something similar in a bigger size. The seller that I purchased the item from, I still could not find a bigger size, although it seemed that the bigger size was actually in their photo, which was so irritating because it's kind of deceptive, right? So Etsy comes up in the search. Amazon eventually came up in the search. Before the search, I was looking for other potential wall hangings in a 3-piece. A lot of them were way too expensive, and honestly, this was a budget makeover. It wasn't gonna work. I kept looking, and eventually Google gave me the Amazon link for a vendor that actually had in a bigger size. In the end, I decided to get the larger set from Amazon. Hopefully it's going to give a similar look, much bigger on impact on this wall. So after the whole entire wall thing, I had another wall issue that to me was like a big deal, but we're going to leave it alone for now, and Nick will take care of it. He's going to figure it out for me because it's driving me insane. So these TVs that we put up behind the screen, Nick measured them out to go into studs so that everything would be sturdy and nothing is going to fall off the wall. He's really good at mounting these TVs. No matter how big, he has mounted them really, really well, very secure. But when we finally brought the screen down, we realized, there's a problem. The TV on the left side is sticking out slightly, and I had to only put it on an angle to not see it look like that. So honestly, that one is driving me crazy. So that's going to need another adjustment. But I wasn't like going crazy like it needs to be fixed now. I was like, okay, we're going to take time and get this fixed. It'll be done. It's going to look seamless. I decided that I wanted black covers for the electrical reciprocals and for the switches. But guess who wasn't going to spend any money? So I used the black paint that I already had, and we made it happen. On this side, I'm just laying out a little bit of tape so that we can get this little wooden strip behind these makeshift tables nice and black. So I'm going to go ahead and use some of the paint that I have to make it look a little bit more crisp. This little area right here is an area that I created for my children when they were much smaller. This was actually supposed to be an area for Peter and Adam to do their homework. One was on each side of the wall opposite each other. You can't really see that here, but obviously this is the one table I have left. On the other side, we decided to remove the table and place the game machine there. So they would do their homework after school, but I wanted another look. So I decided to use this wrap from Walmart, and I don't know. I think I like the way how it looks. What do you think? Even though the room is not finished yet, it is definitely starting to feel more like a real game room now. The fridge is filled, the lighting is going in, and the clock is up. The bigger pieces are finally starting to make more sense. And I can't wait to perfect everything at this point. I'm actually really glad we cleared most of the decor out first, because now I can see the room more clearly and I know exactly what needs to happen. In the next video, we can finally get into the fun part and really decorate this space. This is the semi-finished look right now. So this is like the reveal. So tell me what you guys think in the comments sections. I'd really like to know if there's anything that you think we should tweak further, what you think of the transformation between the before and the after, and please come back for the decorate with me portion, because this is when we're gonna actually add the cherry on top. My hopes are that it turns out looking incredible. Not to mention that in the next video, I am gonna tell you how much we actually spent to do this. You guys are not going to believe the cost. And it was super easy. So hopefully you have gotten some inspiration to do over some of your spaces. If you have been sitting on it for a while, it's really not that bad, and it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, I promise you. Okay, guys, we love you guys. Stay safe, and we will see you guys in the next one. Later. Bye.